Hello, welcome back to episode 2, colour along of the picture from Circle of Light. I've done some of the grass, but I've left some that I will do with you, and I'll speak about that later. But I'm going to start with the clouds. I've been going over the inked clouds that looked like this with a calligraphy ink. It's by Speedball. This is a very small little bottle of it that I got in a scrawler box or palette for packs or one of my art subscription boxes, but it's just a white calligraphy ink, and I've just been painting that. I started using a jelly roll, but I found it very tedious and it wasn't covering the dark marks nicely, and I wanted to cover them properly. So I'm going to zoom into this little bit of cloud here, and then I'm just going to do that with you. So that you can see what I'm doing. Let me move it across slightly so that it's in a good place. I can zoom in even more, I think. I hope that's good for you. I didn't think it was necessary to do the whole lot. It's quite a thin ink, and I'm using an old Princeton snap brush round. I think it's size 2, but it's so sort of all the varnishes come off it, so I can't be sure. And I'm going straight from the jar and painting in there. So I've had my second cataract up now, and the bandage is off it, and my eyesight is so much better. For the first time in my life, I can walk around and not need to wear glasses, just spectacles just for daily life. But now I need reading spectacles, so I went and got a pair this morning. I went to see the surgeon again this morning to check that everything was all right. I have to go back again in 2 weeks, but he's very happy. Both lenses are nicely firmly in place, and I feel like I've been given a new lease on life, which is awesome. I was saying to my hubby how I wish that I could have had something like this done when I was performing on stage. I used to wear contact lenses on stage, but because of my astigmatism, I had to have what they called weighted contact lenses that stayed. They didn't move as much as the others, and my eyes were very dry, and I used to find them incredibly uncomfortable. So it would have been so nice to have had these on stage. So you can see how quick this is with just a paintbrush as it dries. So you can have a choice of leave a little bit of the black line showing through if you want to. I couldn't quite decide whether to do that or not, or go over the bits again. There are a few pieces here that I think I'm going to go over again. I want them just to look like white fluffy clouds. I didn't actually want that line art showing. I've got nothing against it. It was just my decision for what I wanted to do in this particular colouring. I reckon that using gouache or something would work very well with this as well. I want to try and do some more with gouache and learn how to use it better, and I'm dying to do some more watercolors again. I think I mentioned the other day that there's this lovely class on Skillshare that I'm keen to do. There are not enough hours in a day, are there? There's so many wonderful artistic things that one can do, but one does need to earn a living, so you can't just do them everything you want to. So I'm just going over little bits here again as this is dried. This is the area that I did use some gel pen, and I just want to go over this with ink as well. The gel pen looks as if it's sort of almost cracking. Who has been watching the court case on Johnny Depp and the abuse? Shame, I felt quite sad for him. I think one doesn't pay enough attention to the fact that some men are also abused. So now, after having done this, I'm just trying to be careful to remember to rinse my brush out well, so that it, even though it's an old brush, I still use it quite often. It's one of my favorite brushes. It seems to come to a nice point. And then I'm going to show you what I did with the green. On the grass. I must say these Derwent artist pencils are hard work. They really are hard work. So that's in screen. So for the green, I've been using mostly sap green, which is number 4900, and I did many layers going over it. I started with a nice sharp pencil. I find when I zoom in, I sometimes forget that I've zoomed in, and I merrily film away and then discover afterwards that my filming was all not in screen. When the pencil's just been sharpened, it lays down better. But I mean, you sharpen your entire pencil away if you keep the point very sharp. I do turn my pencil around and around and around to try and keep the tip sharp, but I don't wish to sharpen the pencil away completely, although at least with these kinds of pencils like Derwent artist pencils and these types of pencils, one can buy open stock, which is nice. Well, I'm so sorry. I filmed myself doing this. I talked away and I didn't notice that it had stopped recording, and then when it stops recording, it just loses what it did. So I used one coat of burnt sienna with the Derwent artist's pencils. That is 6700, and then I used some of the Derwent drawing pencils, Ruby Earth, and on the sides I didn't use there, and then I used my Prismacolor blender, and I used the Derwent drawing pencils, this lovely sepia on the shutters and the door, and I'm going to just sharpen that and use that on the wood at the edge of this. It's such a nice soft pencil to color with, and I'm getting a little bit tired of my Derwent Artists pencils because they're really hard work. So I'm doing this with the Derwent drawing, and this is sepia. I just have the little 12 set of the, no, I actually have a 24 set and a 12 set. I've got the 12 set out at the moment of the Derwent drawing pencils. I get so fed up when I use an app on my iPhone to record my videos, and every now and then it shows me a red, I get like a red thing that says danger, and then I need to stop recording. I think the video gets too long or something, but because this is downward view, I don't actually see that unless I keep glancing up at it. And so I often miss it, and then it just stops recording. And when it stops recording, it doesn't keep what it had recorded, it just loses everything it recorded. I get really upset with that because once it's done, and you can't, I don't have another copy of the book to do the whole thing all over again. So that is that. Anyway, such is life. Now, what do you think I should do? Should I color? I'm not going to do that now. I think I'm going to take the artist pencils here and do grays. So I've got gunmetal gray 6900 and silver gray, I think it's 7100, and I'm going to do the top of this so that it's sort of metal. So this is the gunmetal gray. Do the dark areas, which the artist has very kindly done with quite a lot of ink lines, so one can see where to put that shading in. Going to use the other grey here. Going to colour up and down as well as sideways because it seems to cover the tooth better that way. I find this paper very smooth. I was watching an artist that I sometimes watch on YouTube, can't remember her name, doing art hacks. If I can remember, I'll put a link to it at the bottom in the more information. But amongst the things she did just for paper, using a fine sandpaper, and I was thinking might be interesting to try doing something like that on colouring paper to give a bit of tooth, although I'm not sure. I do have a bit of qualms about that. I'm going to put some sunlight in there, darker sunlight, orange sunlight. Just to make the picture look warm. And then I think I'm going to take the original color that I used, the lower color, and just do a layer on these, and then I'm going to use maybe water-based markers or something to make them pretty and bright, and that will go over because it's just too much fiddly work to color in between all of these little things. And if that doesn't work, I'll have to use Posca paint pens or something to go over them. I wonder about like Crayola super tips. I don't know if they would go over that. I think they're quite translucent. I was just thinking of ordinary felt tip pens, see how they will work. I suppose I should have tried it first on a little area. But you can see now why I don't do books like Kirby Rosanna's books. They're so beautiful, but I don't like all that little fine detail. It's not for me. I like to admire other people's colouring, but not for me. So now you're going to hear my chair squeak. I've done quite a bit off screen. I've done 3 of these blades of the windmill, and for that I used felt tip pens, these Stabilo felt tip pens, and I'm going to do the last one on screen. I used 5. So what I did, check that I'm still on screen here, and I think I must just zoom in a little bit. They're the same as the Stabilo fine liners, but they've just got this little felt tip. So all I've been doing is plain and simple colouring over the ochre brown that I had laid down with the pencil, and it actually holds its colour quite well. Saved me trying to go in and out tiny little spaces, which I avoid. Even with my eyes newly done and everything, I still can't really see that all that well. So with no particular rhyme or reason, I'm just using them in the red, yellow, orange color scheme. Maybe one more red. I think I'll do these little ones red. I like red because it brightens a picture up. I've also, while off camera, brightened up the mountains a bit because they were looking incredibly dull. Now I'm using the orange. And over here I think I'm going to do this orange. I might have done it green with as leaves and some, but I'm making this little flower here because the orange stands out quite nicely. I hope you can see and that my head is not poking in the way of the camera. We're mid-autumn now. I've just put my quilt on my bed because the nights are getting a bit cooler, but it's the most beautiful sunshiny day even in the middle of autumn. It's one of the perks of living in Cape Town, in the Cape Town area. We do have very nice weather. Mostly. And we also mostly tend not to get the scary things like tornadoes, and we have had one or two bad storms, and we've had one lot of earthquakes, but in my lifetime, but not a lot. So in that respect we're quite lucky. Oh, I needed the green, sorry. Also use the green of these, and I just like doing it this way so that the background sort of ties in with the mill, the windmill. So I had thought that we could fit everything into 2 videos, but there's just still so much more little fine detail to show you, so I'm breaking it into 3 videos. I will end this video here and do part 3 next. So I'd like to thank you so much for watching and maybe clicking that like button, which really does great things for me. And I hope you'll join us for part 3 as well. Thanks so much for watching and for being part of this channel. Love you lots and have a colourful week. Bye-bye now.